Hello, Internet, and welcome back to the Story Nook. Today, we're going to be reading I'm in Love with the Villainess because it got the highest number of votes on my poll that I put up on my community page. And yeah, I did watch the anime. I have not read the manga, but it is written by Inori and it's illustrated by Hanagata. And this is the light novel. And it's volume 1, and it's called I'm in Love with the Villainess. She's so cheeky for a commoner. But, like, look at this art. It's beautiful. I watched the anime. I highly recommend it. It's super cute. And we had some really nice scenes. It is published by 7 Seas Entertainment. Copyright 2022. Here is our table of contents. Today, our goal is just to finish chapter 1. But we're just gonna go up until, like, my husband gets to the car. So we don't finish chapter 1, we'll end it mid-chapter, and I'll come back and do another video and finish it. But chapter 1, The Strange Commoner and Me. Interlude, Dole Francoise. Chapter 2, The Cheeky Maid in Me. Chapter 3, The Commoner Who Now Knows Her Place in Me. Interlude regarding Dole Francois, Misha Jor. Interlude Taboo, Lambert Aurora Sale, and afterward. Tuning in now. Scrolling down. Chapter 1, The Strange Commoner and Me. To think a commoner would even fathom sitting next to me. Know your place. The commoner appeared dazed by my rebuke. She looked around herself, seemingly unable to comprehend her situation, then turned back to me. How dare she show me, of all people, such disrespect? It took all I had to rein in my fury. Okay, I am enjoying this because I am realizing that this is the light novel told from Claire's perspective. And I'm very excited to see how her perspective is, because the anime mostly follows Ray's perspective. So this is hilarious. I'll try to continue reading in my bratty voice. My bratty posh voice. My name is Claire Francois, and I was born to one of the Bower Kingdom's most esteemed noble lineages. My father, Dole Francois, was entrusted with the kingdom's treasury as the Minister of Finance, making the House of Francois the third most powerful force in the country, second only to the royal family and the Chancellor. We were elite even among nobility. It followed, then, that one such as myself didn't attend some ordinary school. No, I attended the Bower Kingdom Royal Academy. A school that solely admitted the best of the best. At least, that was how it had been until the commoners wormed their way in. Just wait until your little perspective gets flipped on its head, sweetie. Ah, the commoner said before me said. Claire? Why, I never. Who do you think you are, calling me by my first name? The likes of a commoner had no place addressing any noble in such a manner, much less a noble of my standing. My dear friends Peppy and Loretta glowered at the commoner in sympathy for my plight. The commoner still seemed unable to grasp the situation. She met my eyes and said, Miss Claire! Finally, that was proper for her station. Goodness, the commoners thought they could act so imprudently, merely because they attend the same school as we did. This was why they never amounted to anything. They simply didn't know their place. That's better, I said. A commoner should show respect. Do you remember my name? The commoner asked. I never bothered to remember each and every commoner's name, but neither did I take kindly to having my memory challenged. Thus I scoffed. If I remembered correctly, I had heard her name during roll call earlier. Do you take me for a fool? You're Ray Taylor. Right. She was Ray Taylor, the most accomplished of this year's transferred students, and an outsider who had been allowed to attend our illustrious academy despite her rank. As I mentioned earlier, the Royal Academy was a school for the elite, one that had educated the nobility for generations. However, noble birth wasn't enough to earn a student the right to attend the academy. No, even the nobility had to pass a rigorous test and prove they were the cream of the crop to earn admittance. But for some reason, oh god, this name is going to be so difficult for me and I apologize. King Lazuli had allowed a small number of commoners to attend under the pretense of promoting meritocracy. Meritocracy. I don't know how to pronounce that word, and I'm not about to Google it. As if that weren't preposterous enough in itself, now one of these commoners was trying to sit next to me. As a high-standing noble lady, it was my duty to re-establish order in these halls. I opened my mouth, ready to further admonish her, when instead, "Yahoo!" she exclaimed with glee. What a strange person this commoner was. Did she not understand that I was admonishing her? "What's come over you? And to use such a vulgar expression, goodness! What is the matter with you commoners?" The difference between commoners and my ilk was readily evident in our vocabularies alone. As things stood, these plebeians would ruin the Academy's reputation. I muttered, "I respect His Majesty, but I cannot bring myself to agree with this policy at all." "Me too, Miss Clare. Me three." My close friends Peppy and Loretta agreed with me. Of course, the Academy belonged to the nobility. It was no place for rabble. "Claire, you are a classist bitch." You'll figure it out, though. If I could only do something about this particular commoner, the best of the transfer students, then the others would surely fall in line. No. With that goal in mind, I readied myself to speak, but before I could begin, the commoner called my name. "Miss Clare." "What?" "It is most displeasing to see a commoner think she can simply call out to me," I courtly replied. Never could I have predicted her next words. "I like you." "Huh? What did she just say?" My mind began to race. Like? One can like many things. Food, things, people as in, no, surely not. "Miss Clare, I love you." What? What nonsense was coming out of this girl's mouth? I'd come at her with all those harsh words, and she was saying she loved me? What in the world are you saying? "I'm saying I love you, that's all." The commoner looked at me with confusion of all things. I couldn't detect an ounce of ill will in her, but I couldn't take her words at face value either. What was she trying to pull? I thought for a moment, then stumbled upon a possibility. The likes of a commoner trying to get on my good side. Don't waste your time. There was no end to the number of people who tried to curry my favor due to my family's standing. The commoner was doubtless just another one of them. I turned away with a huff. "You're so cute." What? I was accustomed to hearing my looks praised, but generally people called me things like pretty or beautiful. I hadn't been called cute since I was a child. Wait, no, that wasn't the problem here. The problem was that we were the same gender, yet the commoner was unmistakably showing interest in me. Are you trying to say that you bat for that team? Oh, this is going to be hilarious. Women who fancied other women occasionally appeared in novels and plays, and they were often depicted as lecherous and debauched. Was this girl the same? Well, that doesn't matter. I mean, it's irrelevant to your cuteness. And, well, Miss Clare, you are cute. Eek! That settled it. She was the same as those foul perverts. "Miss Clare, you hate me, right?" "Of course." There wasn't a single thing about this girl that I didn't hate. "That's fine. Please keep teasing me. I love it." What in the world? I couldn't make sense of this girl. Not in the least. She said she loved me, yet she didn't care if I hated her. And she furthermore wanted me to tease her? She was utterly incomprehensible. I stared at her as though she were some unknown life form that had merely taken human shape. Don't worry, Claire. After a while, being pushed in these awkward situations, your viewpoints will change and you'll be able to, kind of get it. Now, Let's get this super fun school life started, Miss Claire. We're going to have a great time. What makes you think I'll have anything to do with you? I hadn't the slightest inkling at the time, but this aggravating cheeky commoner would go on to become the love of my life. So, like, we're looking back on it. So you do fall. You fall in the novel too. That's great. I'm excited for this now. I'm like a little giddy puppy. What is with that commoner? She's insane. How dare she speak that way to a noble lady such as yourself, Miss Claire? I was joined by Peppy and Loretta for tea. We were at one of the many arbors located on the academy grounds, which had been established to give students a perfect place to relax however they liked. This particular arbor was located at the center of the central courtyard. Peppy was of House Barlier, the family that had a strong foothold in the financial world. She was a cute girl with milky skin and pink-tinged brown hair that came down to her shoulders. Loretta was of House Curret, a family distinguished for its military officers. She was somewhat tomboyish and had short black hair. They were both close friends of mine, and we spent much of our time together. The tea for our tea party had been imported from a country to the far west. From the far west. And many sweets laid out before us from Baumet, one of the kingdom's finest restaurants. Of course, while the sweets were wonderful, nothing paired better with tea than small talk. Today, the topic of our chat was that strange commoner. Shouldn't we do something about her, Miss Claire? We can't let her off scot-free after everything she said to you. Yeah, she'll make a laughingstock of the academy at this rate. My brain is struggling to read. Like, my brain can read, but my tongue is not on my side. So stick in that today. Probably because I'm full of rage left over from the day before. I understood very well where they were coming from. To depreciate me, one of the most prominent nobles, was to depreciate the entirety of the kingdom's nobility. Such a thing could not be tolerated. Oh, ho, ho! Worry not, my friends, I gave them a strong, reassuring smile. Driving a commoner or two out of the academy will be all too easy for me. No matter how strange a person this commoner might be, she was still human. I could force her out of this academy simply by making it an unbearable place. It went against my nature to take advantage of a weak foe, but I was willing to stoop to such levels if it meant I could protect the order in the academy. I knew you'd come through, Miss Claire. So, what'll it be? How are you driving her out? How, indeed. Even amongst the aristocrats, bullying was known to occur. But as one of the most prestigious individuals of my social class, I had never considered committing such a deed myself, so I hadn't the faintest idea where to start. Just for reference, what would you two do? Peppy answered first. Me? Well, I suppose I'd try to sneak glass shards into her indoor shoes. Glass shards? I exclaimed. Did I hear it right? On the off chance the commoner didn't notice the glass and put on her shoes. How terrible! Oh, Peppy, you're only joking, right? You never do something so horrifying. Right? I see. Well, what would you do, Loretta? Why not light her uniform on fire? Light her uniform on fire, I said incredulously. Goodness gracious! The commoner might actually be hurt if we did that. Has bullying between nobles escalated to such a point without my knowledge? Has the academy done nothing to maintain our school's moral backbone? But I'm sure Miss Claire wouldn't be satisfied with something as half-baked as our ideas. Yeah! I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with, Miss Claire. Their enthusiasm was starting to scare me a little. Blindly going along with their suggestions would lead to simply horrific outcomes. So I needed to come up with something of my own. Something safer. The two of you are still far too green, I said. Such coarse violence doesn't even begin to qualify as bullying. Oh, do go on. Their eyes shone with anticipation. Anticipation for what exactly? I didn't want to know. I felt like I was seeing a new side of my friends, one that I wished I could unsee. To be perfectly frank, they disturbed me quite a bit. I said, I was thinking we could begin by pushing her from behind. This I appreciate that Claire's like, how would you go about bullying Lacometer and being absolutely horrified by the two, like, crazy suggestions they gave? I appreciate it. It shows that Claire has some morals and, like, goodness in her instead of just being, like, a classist brat. Like, she's still a classist brat, but she's not too far gone from being redeemed. But Peppy and Loretta, y'all need therapy or something? I don't know. You mean down the stairs? Or do you mean off the veranda? Goodness, calm down, you two. My opinion of you is plummeting rather drastically. I said, next I was thinking I'd step on her with high heels. On her face? That would be dangerous. I could seriously hurt her if I stepped on her face with heels. I said, then I'd take her textbooks and cut them up. No, surely you'd have to burn them. Why ever would I ruin precious papers like that? Are they unaware that all natural resources are a gift from God? I said, after that, I'd make sure she's alone and imprison her. Miss Claire, you're a monster. The only monster here are you two. My goodness. Have I somehow picked the wrong people to befriend? I said. Next, I'll take some water, and you'll deprive her of water, and then hold a tea party in front of her so she dies of thirst? Why would who would hold such a barbaric tea party? Honestly, are you even the same people you were yesterday? Weakly, I said, then I'd leave a flower vase on her desk and smash her face into it, then grind her face into the shards. Pappy and Loretta scare the shit out of me. Do they scare the shit out of anyone else, please? How could I ever be so violent? I don't care if she's a commoner. One should never mar a lady's face. Well, I guess that's why you're top of the line, Miss Claire. Our ideas didn't even come close. I wonder about that. I was a bit wary of my friends now. They were calm for the moment, but the strange enthusiasm they had displayed seconds prior reminded me a bit of that commoner. Perhaps something strange had been mixed into their tea and sweets? I heard some sweets contained liquor, but surely not these. Anyway, you two can leave all the bullying to me. That commoner will be out of our academy before you know it. Having regained my composure, I lifted my teacup to my lips. No, please let us help. Yes, please. Absolutely not, I said firmly. Miss Claire, but why? There's no need for you two to dirty your hands. My actions alone will be sufficient to drive that commoner out. For as long as the commoner faced me, I wouldn't deign to borrow the help of others. My pride wouldn't allow it. And also, you're protecting her from crazy-ass friends. Good job, Claire. Oh, but of course, Miss Claire. We expect no less from you. My friends looked at me with deep admiration. They were apt to misunderstand things, so I was a little worried as to what thoughts might be running through their minds. Listen carefully, you two. I don't need either of your help, all right? Am I clear? Crystal, show us what you're capable of. And so my plan to bully that cheeky commoner moved forward. It wasn't until much later that I realized the plans I spent all that evening devising would only ever be considered a reward. And it would indeed. Hello, it's been a while, Misha. Huh? Oh, Miss Claire. How do you do? Misha politely bowed her head. I was unaccompanied by Peppy and Loretta today. Because they are sociopaths, it is good to not always hang around with crazy people who are so violent happy. I had slipped away from them after spotting Misha, as I didn't want them to overhear what I had to discuss with her. Misha Jor was a beautiful girl with silver hair and red eyes. We hadn't seen each other in quite a while, but her expression was as implacably indifferent as ever. Her cold eyes held no emotion as they regarded me. Congratulations on your admission to the Royal Academy. You may be a commoner now, but your family was once proud nobility. You're different from the rest of that lot. Please feel free to drop the formalities with me, I said. Thank you, but I think it best if I refrain, Misha insisted we maintain our roles. Something I thought was very like her indeed. The head of House Jor had once held the rank of Marquise. They had overseen matters involving land and agriculture. I had heard they had been close to the royal family, so much so that the third Prince Yu had visited their home to play when he was younger. Those of the Jur line were often stoic and earnest, and Misha had inherited those same traits, to the point that at times she was perhaps a little too diligent. Very well, then. I was saddened to hear of your family's misfortunes, however. It was unavoidable. Power struggles are the norm among the aristocracy, as is the loser's fall from grace. Misha didn't seem to be bluffing. She genuinely accepted the reality of her situation. I detected neither a trace of regret nor grudge within her. Misha's willingness to take defeat in stride was yet another trait typical of House Jor. There were more or less 4 bastions of political power in the Boer kingdom. One was the royal family, naturally. They were the most powerful people in the country and had ruled for nearly 2,000 years. History is never consistent. However, in things had started to change. The current royal family's power was tied more in their past influence than to anything concrete. Some notable families of the current era exceeded the royal family in terms of both financial holdings and political sway. Another political bastion was House Francois, from which I hailed. We were the second greatest political power in the kingdom and had held the position of Minister of Finance for many generations. Both our finances and our political influence perpetually threatened to eclipse those of the royal family. Chancellor Lasas's Lilium did possess slightly more political clout than we did, but no one came close to rivaling the depths of our coffers. If any noble were ever so foolish as to offend my father, his grip on the kingdom's treasury would make their lives miserable. Although, of course, he'd never think to use his power to exercise such pettiness. The third political bastion was Chancellor Salas Lilium's fraction. I specified it as his fraction, not House Lilium's, because his house in itself held little sway to speak of. House Lilium was of fairly low standing. Salas had risen to the position of Chancellor in a single generation purely by his own merit. While he had far less influence over the kingdom's finances, he had the ear of many other powerful people. It was an open secret among the nobility that it was only possible for the royal family to push its policies because of Salas's backing. His fraction both revolved around and depended on his charismatic character. The last political bastion was House Archard, whose family had held the rank of Marquis. Their long history was second only to the royal families, and their true standing was greater than their rank suggested. Several generations ago, the head of their family had lost a power struggle with House Francois, causing them to fall from the rank of Duke, which I and my family enjoyed, to their current status. I keep looking up going, is that my husband? No. It's only 5:30 though. However, authority and pedigree carried immense weight to nobles, and in both regards, House Arcard remained at the forefront. For now, they were the power most staunchly opposed to King Lasil's meritocratic policies, and they represented the conservative faction that favored the tried and true system of peerage. House Arcard didn't stand out particularly much in terms of present accomplishments, but they boasted a stable influence. Forgive me, this explanation stretched a little long, didn't it? I say this because Misha's house, House Jor, had lost the political power against House Archard. House Jor had been a neutral party that refrained from siding with any of the aforementioned 4 powers, but they had earned the ill will of House Arcard and been ruined all the same. Rumor had it that House Arcard had been after House Jor's connection with the royal family, but the truth remained unclear. "Do you have some business with me, Miss Clare?" Misha asked. Yes, I do. I had almost forgotten." "It's about that roommate of yours." "Ray? What about her?" "Oh, I'll tell you what, that commoner is insane. She blathers the most absurd nonsense at every turn. Never have I met anyone so rude. Huh? Oh, I'm most sorry to hear that." Despite being a little confused, Misha lowered her head and maintained her calm. "Just for reference, could you go into further detail as to what she said to you?" Well, I dithered. "She said she liked me." There's Carla. Y'all are almost done? Y'all are almost done?
Yeah, we're done. He's
Awesome.
wrapping up.
Cool.
Bye. See you.
Bye. Awesome, sweetheart. She's just like, "I saw my husband." Alright, back to where I was. Oh, well, I dithered. "She said she liked me." "I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Could you repeat that?" I said, "Yes. Why must I endure such embarrassment? One such of myself is far too proud to repeat such a drivel." I muttered, "This is all that blasted commoner's fault." Miss Claire. Anyway, make sure that commoner learns to show the nobility proper respect. But as far as I've ever seen, Ray is fairly polite to is a fairly polite person." "In what way? If one were to boil all the moisture out of rudeness until it consolidated into the shape of a person, is she what would be left?" "Are we still talking about Ray?" Misha asked with a tilt of her head. How strange, did our impressions of that commoner really diverge? Just out of curious, what manner of a person do you consider that girl to be? Oh, he needed to go to the bathroom. Cool. Do. I suppose I'd describe her as normal. Normal? That thing is normal to you? Yes, I don't know what it is about her that rubs you the wrong way, but Ray is really just an ordinary girl who doesn't stand out much. I was beginning to feel faint. That commoner is normal? Oh dear, could it possibly be true that all commoners are like her and I've simply been none the wiser? I fear for Brower's future if so. She's a bit on the quiet side, Misha continued, and there's nothing particularly noteworthy about her. Oh, but she is a natural academic. Natural. That commoner is normal. I was still hung up on the normal part. What a frightful thing commoners must be. If this was the case, it truly would be for the best for nobles to lead the kingdom. Least the whole country come crashing down. What would you describe Ray, then? How would you describe Ray, then? Misha asked. She's a pervert. Huh? I said she's a pervert. What is with her? She tried to court me with no consideration to either her lowly status or the fact that we're of the same gender. She can't possibly be sane. I'm sorry, she tried to what? Court you? Yes, I'm sure she only meant to tease me, but there's nothing funny about it, not in the least. As I continued to vent on and on, Misha tilted her head confused. What is it? I asked. Nothing, well, I just can't help but feel you might have mistaken Ray for someone else. Impossible. She's that worryingly thin-looking commoner with black hair in a medium bob who's slightly taller than me. Yes, that's her. You remember her quite well. How could I not after she left me with such a traumatic experience? Is that right? Misha began to chuckle. Excuse me, Misha. Is there something funny about all of this? Forgive me, Miss Claire. It's just that you seem to be enjoying yourself a bit. What? Enjoying myself? Yes, Misha said with a light smile. As befits a noble, you always present a brilliant smile to everyone, but that's nothing more than a mask. You only show your real self to your friends. People like Peppy and Loretta, am I right? Of course I began, but trailed off. Perhaps she was right. Yet here you are, freely expressing your true feelings. I can't help but feel you're actually quite interested in Ray. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Was Misha insinuating that I was letting my guard down around the commoner? Impossible. I just wanted to warn you, her roommate of her improper behavior. Yes, I understand. I'll give her a stern warning. But have you considered the possibility that Ray only behaves that way towards you? Huh? As in, perhaps she finds you special. What? Special? I thought. In any case, I believe I've made myself clear. I won't let her off the hook so lightly next time. So make sure her nonsense ends here. I will, don't worry. I'll make sure to warn her nice and thoroughly. Please do, and with that, I bid you good day. I turned on my heel to leave Misha. Miss Claire, where did you go? We were so worried we couldn't find you. I'm sorry, Peppy, Loretta. I just had to take care of some business. I met up with my two friends, and together we had tea at our usual arbor. The black tea my long-time maid Linnea poured for me was delicious, but she finds me special. The words Misha had stuck with me. There was nothing pleasant about being liked by a commoner, nothing at all. I just couldn't get that girl's blithe smile out of my head. Holy shit, we're on page 13 already. Good day, Miss Claire. I was studying in the lecture hall before class when that commoner called out to me as though we were friends. Loretta saw my annoyed grimace and stepped in to block the commoner's way of me. Would you stop addressing us like we're your friends? We live in a different world than you. Isn't that right, Miss Claire? Loretta said with a sneer. She wasn't one to pick on others, but she was certainly as much of a stickler for status and social rules as I. I don't have anything to say to you, minions. I'm speaking to Miss Claire. Good day, Miss Claire. What? You ingrate! Who do you think I am? Loretta said. I am of House Corrette, which has served the Francois family for generations. So, Claire's minion, am I right? Miss Claire! Loretta, teary-eyed, turned to me for help. This rude commoner was perhaps too much of a sheltered noble for a sheltered noble such as herself to handle. Ugh, commoner, I sighed. Get over yourself. I have nothing to say to you. And don't you know good day is used as a parting term? Language uses within the kingdom had grown improper of late. Even among aristocrats, the crass phrases the lower class used were becoming more and more commonplace, much to my dismay. Normally one such as myself wouldn't have deigned to correct the words of someone so inconsequential, but if I left this be, there was no telling what effect it might have on the academy as a whole. Hence I had the duty to teach this commoner the proper way to speak in Bower. So you say, but you still responded to me, and you even politely corrected my language. I just love that about you, she said. There she went on again with that love nonsense. Enough, I exclaimed. Are you trying to taunt me? Yes! You're not even going to deny it. She really was just making fun of me. Control yourself, Ray, and good morning, Miss Claire. Misha appeared, grabbing the commoner's collar with the firmness of a cat picking up its kitten. I was relieved to see her. As sensible as she was, she would doubtless be able to rein in her roommate. Misha! Let go of me! I'm toying with Miss Claire right now! How can you be so How can you be so shameless about it? I exclaimed. What was with her? That's enough, Misha smacked the commoner's head. Give her a few more smacks for me, Misha, I thought. Then I demanded, Misha, control your kitten, would you? Miss Claire, Ray is not my pet. But I would love to be your pet, Miss Claire. Oh, you be quiet. How many more pages do I have? This chapter is longer than I thought it was. Okay, there's an illustration down there. Goodness, we just kept going in circles whenever this girl was involved. Hi! I have begun reading I Am in Love with the Villainess. I'm recording it. I'm going to stop the recording now since you're here.
Oh, you're going to play it out loud.
Oh, no, I was reading it. But I'm going to stop it